Very good morning. Welcome back to the show. 10:52 is the time. Let's talk more about that Unite the Kingdom March protest on Saturday. At least 150,000 people attended. And among those was my next guest, Stuart Field. He's the stepfather of Courtney Wright. You may remember we spoke to him earlier this year when his stepdaughter was sent home from school in disgrace because she had dared on a culture day to wear a dress representing her culture. Yes, a lovely sequined Union Jack dress. Apparently that wasn't the sort of culture we were supposed to be celebrating. Stuart Field, welcome back to the show.
Morning, Julia. Thank you for having me.
Very good morning to you. So tell us, you attended the march. Did you go to the march because it was organised by Tommy Robinson, in spite of it being organised by Tommy Robinson? Or did that have anything to do with your decision to go?
Ultimately, it was Courtney's decision to go. We gave her the option as well, whether if it was something that she wanted to do, and she was absolutely over the moon.
She was invited to speak, yeah.
She was invited to speak, yeah. I mean, she having her voice taken away from her originally, it went quite big, and you know the story went around the world. So yeah. And there was quite a big movement at that point, you know, raising the flags for Courtney and the anti-Britishness that people were seeing at that point. Obviously not anymore after Saturday. But yeah, she wanted to speak, and we've always sort of advocated for her to be able to express herself in whatever way she wants.
Yeah, and again, you know, it was a peaceful rally. Lots of people were saying, oh, well, you know, because it's Tommy Robinson, and they don't, you know, it's going to be far right. It's reported in many papers about the violence, and the media very much, as is always the case with anyone, focusing on violence. Well, apart from if it's Black Lives Matter, when, of course, it's largely peaceful, even as, you know, people are setting fire to things behind them. But there were some arrests. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, has spoken since, said to Tommy Robinson, he said, we will not surrender the British flag to violence. What did you make of that response?
Yeah, it's outrageous. Keir Starmer needs to understand that that flag has belonged to this country and the people of this country for many, many years before Keir Starmer came into this government. It's absurd that Keir Starmer somehow believes, in my opinion, that that flag now belongs to him and the institution, and he has the right to take that away from the people. It's disgusting. You know, the guy, to me, he's like a robot. The guy just talks like a machine. Yeah. He's this little echo chamber of things. He doesn't even read his own speech.
Yeah. The Island of Strangers speech, which I didn't read it in advance. What do you make of it? I was talking a bit earlier on the show. I've just come back from being in Israel, a country where people fly their flag with such pride, and children, you know, younger than mine and just slightly older than your stepdaughter are putting on a uniform and picking up a weapon to fight for their country. What do you make of this, our country being somewhere where the elites, because I don't think ordinary people feel this way. I don't think like your average Joe, you know, thinks this way. They're embarrassed by certainly the England flag, but also by the Union Jack.
There's this, you know, there's this whole sort of champagne socialist postgraduate movement going on, and it's been going on for a long time. Clearly, Saturday proved that, you know, the blue-collar, working-class, everyday people, that the backbone and the spine of the country got together, and they haven't had a voice for so long, and I don't think they've realised that they needed to speak until Labour came in and this government started changing things drastically. Now they realise they need to speak, and people got together and they spoke. Yeah. But it was said for a long time, you know, this is a fringe movement. There will only be 10,000 people, possibly 40,000 people. But let me tell everybody, that was an insane amount of people. There was at least 1.5 million people.
Now, again, there's always a difference on numbers, and we'll often have, you know, the need to talk down a right-wing, in their view, march and talk up a left-wing march. And indeed, you know, 10 people gather outside Parliament for a cause they agree with, you know, like pro-Hamas, and they'll definitely publicise it. It's very unlikely there were as many as 1.5 million. Some people are claiming 3 million. You know, the population of London's 10 million, for goodness sake. But it was certainly a huge protest. There were certainly way more people than people had expected, certainly than the police were and the authorities were expecting. But what was your What was your overwhelming, I suppose, experience of that, Mark? What were people talking about? When you spoke to people, what did they say they were there for?
I started off in the morning. Obviously, we went to the staging area. There was bagpipes playing. It was very celebratory. People were in really good spirits. I never saw any trouble whatsoever. It was one of the most unifying, wholesome experiences. We went through the march. I was carrying my 3-year-old. I turned around to my left and there's a father, and we both sort of give each other a smile because we were both carrying a child that he was half asleep.
Yeah.
And we'd carried these kids for miles, and there was push chairs with mothers. It was probably the most diverse. You know, there was black, there was white, there was Asian, there were people from all cultures, and they were all together. I've heard people say earlier, you know, it was everyone was excuse me, sorry. It was probably one of the most British things. I'm sorry.
Well, also, my guess is, and I've covered a lot of marches and been on some marches, this wasn't the usual marching crowd. You know, the socialist work a lot who turn up to everything. You've not done it before, so you don't know. Like, oh, how do I do this?
It was a festival environment.
That's interesting.
Celebrating. It wasn't a demonstration. It wasn't a rally. It was a festival, and people were there to unite. People were there to feel that they could rely and we had hope as a country. You know, British people, the people of the country were uniting together for a cause, and that was the general feeling there. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you say that's beautiful, and people should feel that, and it should never be a source of shame or embarrassment or a threat for people to march in our capital city holding our flag. Stuart Field, stepfather of Courtney Wright, really appreciate you joining us for that.